Hello everyone, my name is Coach Abner with Skyhook Ninja Fitness's homeschool workout videos. Today we are going to be introducing our first workout for your core, our first core workout for the series. The first thing we are going to do today is a hollow plank. So you are probably familiar with the plank, which oftentimes you will find people performing a plank like this, where their lower back is arching and their hips are drooping down a little bit. So today we're going to work on a hollow plank. So basically, same starting position, hands directly under your shoulders, arms straight, but we're now going to press into the ground through our shoulders to allow our lower back to slightly round or flatten. Now that is very different from pushing our hips up. So in order to prevent that compensation, we're going to tighten our glutes, squeeze them as tight as we can, and then press into the ground through your shoulders, allowing the low back to round, keeping your legs straight and fairly close to each other. We are going to hold this position for about 45 seconds. Be sure to continue breathing and keeping your core and your glutes engaged. Keep holding just a little bit longer. Almost there, everybody. And rest. All right, that is our first exercise for today. Something to note, you are going to perform 3 to 4 sets of each one of these exercises, complete the whole series, and then you can restart the video and do them all over again. Our second exercise for the day is going to be a side plank with hip abduction or leg raises. We are going to start off by getting into a side plank position. We stack our legs, bend your elbow, and push into the ground through your shoulder to not let this whole thing happen where your shoulder collapses into your ear. Pressing into the ground through your shoulder. And now once we're in this position, we're going to tighten our obliques, these muscles right here on the sides of your body, and we are going to then raise our leg up and down as many times as we can in 30 seconds. Now, if you need to modify this exercise, if this is a little too challenging, you can modify it by bending the supporting leg. So we'll be going down to our knee. Once again, forming that nice straight line, engaging the obliques to not allow our hips to come down towards the ground in this manner. Hips up, and with our knee bent and our other leg straight, we can then do our raises in a modified version of the exercise. Once you complete your 30 seconds here, turn around and complete your 30 seconds on the other side. Same idea again. We're going to stack our legs, push into the ground through our shoulder, and once we're in position and engaging our obliques, we can start doing our straight leg raises. 30 seconds on this side is your goal as well. And this is self-paced, so if you need to slow down or take a quick break from your leg raises and really focus on keeping your shape, you are allowed to do that. Once again, as many reps as you can complete in 30 seconds, and then come to rest. Great work so far, everybody. Our next exercise for the day is going to be focusing mainly on your hip flexors and your lower abs. These are called straight leg raises. For this one, we're going to lay flat on our back, facing up. We're going to bring our arms to our sides, engage our core while our legs are still bent to flatten our low back to the ground and try to make as much contact with the floor as you can with your back. From there, we're going to straighten out our legs. We're going to raise them up, and you will notice as you raise your legs, it'll really help with the flattening of the back. But then as you start to bring your legs back down, that's when it gets challenging to keep the back flat on the ground. So be sure to engage your core fully and slowly let the legs come down without allowing your low back to arch or come off the ground like this. Again, you raise the legs and slowly come down. You can just hover them above the ground, or you can bring them to rest in between repetitions But make sure you're not letting your legs just slam to the ground. Really control that portion of the movement. And you're going to do as many reps as you can in 45 seconds. If you need to modify this movement, either because you cannot hold your back flat on the ground or because you're experiencing a little bit of low back pain, what you can do is form a diamond with your hands, and you're going to place that diamond underneath your lower back near your coccyx, essentially. You lay on the diamond that you're forming with your hands, and that will aid in keeping your back from overarching and take away any pain that you may feel during the movement. Again, 45 seconds, as many repetitions as you can of that exercise. Next movement we're going to get into today are segmental glute bridges. So for this one, we're going to lay back again, nice and flat, arms out to the sides, knees bent, feet firmly planted on the ground. Now from there, the main part of this movement is to roll the spine up, segment by segment, and back down, as opposed to just popping up. Alrighty, we are going to initiate the movement by pressing into the ground through our heels, bringing our pelvis into a posterior tilt, which will bring our coccyx off the ground, and then we continue to roll the spine little by little, vertebra by vertebra, off the ground until we are forming a fairly straight line from knees to shoulders. At the top of the movement here, I'm focusing on tightening my glutes, keeping my core engaged, and not letting any of that pressure go to my low back. Again, I'm preventing my low back from overarching, and instead I'm holding my hips up with my glutes and my core. I'm going to then roll back down to the ground, initiating at the top of my spine this time, segment by segment, coming back down until my back is completely flat on the ground. And we're going to start our next repetition. We bring our pelvis into posterior tilt, bringing our coccyx off the ground, and segment by segment, rolling the spine up, tightening the glutes and the core, and then rolling back down segment by segment. Now here, you are going to do as many reps as you can in 60 seconds. Really focus on going slowly with this one and on rolling the spine up and down, as opposed to, again, just popping down and popping up. All right? That's a different exercise. Those are segmental glute bridges. Great. Now, the next exercise we are going to do is going to be T-spine rotations, or thoracic spine rotations. When we're working our core, we want to focus on stabilizing the lumbar spine, our lower back essentially, but we also want to add mobility and rotation to our thoracic spine. So for this movement, we are going to start in the quadruped position, get down on all fours, hands and knees on the ground, hands directly under your shoulders, knees directly under your hips. Now from this position, I'm going to bring one of my arms to the back of my neck. And as you can see, I'm putting my whole hand on there. I'm not just doing this, because this will allow compensations that we don't want to get into. So hand flat on the back of your head. From there, without bending your supporting arm or sinking into it, you're going to try and get this elbow as close to the opposite wrist as you can. And then we're going to rotate back up, following our elbow with our eyes, pointing it up as high as we can towards the ceiling before we come back down, rotating, bringing that elbow as close to the opposite wrist as possible, and opening up, following the elbow with your eyes throughout the movement. As many repetitions as you can do of this one in 45 seconds before you switch over to the other side and do 45 more seconds of T-spine rotations on the other side. Once you have completed both sides, you can then move on to our final exercise for the day, which is going to be our bird dog. So bird dog starts in the same position as your T-spine rotations. You get into a quadruped position with hands under your shoulders and knees under your hips. Now, while keeping my gaze down and my core lightly engaged to prevent overarching of the back, I'm going to lift one arm and the opposite leg off the ground as high as I can, again without arching the back. So I'm not forcing it by arching my back and putting pressure on my lower back. Instead, I am focusing on raising the leg by squeezing my glute and raising the arm by using my mid and upper back muscles, my rhomboids and lower traps. So again, quadruped position, mid back and upper back muscles raise the arm, glute lifts the leg, we extend, and then we come back down, and we can alternate. Now the other arm and leg go up, extending, reaching up high, keeping the core engaged, keeping our gaze down towards the floor, and we're going to keep alternating between both sides for a full minute. 60 seconds, as many reps as you can do with good form. As I mentioned, you should be planning on completing 2 or 3 sets of each of these exercises. You could even go to 4 if you really want to. Be sure to practice good form and take all of the tips that we discussed into consideration. It is especially important that you take care of yourself and your core during this tough time. So I hope that these are helpful. Thank you so much for being with us. And there's your core workout number 1.